Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 26th of August 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on NXT. Overall, I was happy with tonight's NXT. I thought the show itself served a lot of different purposes, saw a lot of different things happen. Excuse me, I got a itch on my nose. That's weird. Anyways, I saw a lot of things progress some stuff. I saw things continue from where we had seen them previously. And honestly, I liked basically everything that we saw tonight on NXT. I wasn't disappointed with the show whatsoever. So let's get talking about it. But before that, remember that you guys can support us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Right here on twitch.tv/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. No, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. I want to thank everybody who has joined us here tonight. Also, I want to remind you guys that you can support us in a few different ways. You can either support us by donating some bits, or you can support us by subscribing, either giving us a tier 1 subscription or subscribing with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have what they are now calling Prime Gaming. No longer called Twitch Prime, it's called Prime Gaming. So with Prime Gaming, you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel that you want to support throughout the month, and I would greatly appreciate it if you gave that support to us here at PW Unlimited. Also, a little housekeeping for you guys. We will be live right back here tomorrow night to talk about tomorrow's live edition of AEW Dynamite. Plus, we will be live on Friday for SmackDown as normal, but we will also be live this Sunday as, yes, WWE has another pay-per-view in Payback. Then we start the week all over again next Monday with Monday Night Raw and a special Tuesday edition of NXT next week that we will talk about more as we talk about tonight's NXT. So with that, let's get into it. Talk about tonight's show. The show opens up. We get a quick recap of NXT TakeOver. We also learn that former 5-time Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett is on commentary tonight with Beth Phoenix and Vic Joseph. The show then starts with the NXT Champion, not for long though, and Karrion Kross and Scarlett coming down to the ring. Karrion Kross came down with his right arm in a sling, and that told us everything we needed to know. He's dropping that belt. Karrion Kross and Scarlett made their way down to the ring. He said and warned that he would become NXT champion again. He said that he promised and delivered at TakeOver. He kept good on his promise, he stated, and said that as of right now, they will not let him defend this title in his current state. He never said the word injured, injury, vacate, relinquish. He never said any of that. He just laid the title down in the middle of the ring. Scarlett, who looked devastated, was trying to fight it back the entire time, put the hourglass behind the championship, flipped it over so the sand started to pour down, and the two walked out. As they were walking to the back, Scarlett put her hand up on the big video board, and their logo caught fire. So it's unfortunate that Karrion Kross has to drop the belt. No longer the NXT champion, but I would assume whenever he comes back, which Regal said later, he said, I wish Karrion Kross the best in his long recovery. Long recovery. Ow. And I know a lot of people are going to say it, and I said it as well on Twitter. Basically 2016 all over again. Finn Balor comes in, is made to look very strong, wins the championship, and in that championship match gets hurt. But that's not the only similarities to 2016. In 2016, after Finn won the title, he vacated the title. Then, they had a fatal 4-way match, granted elimination fatal 4-way match, to crown the new Universal Champion. Well, as we'll talk about later, they've got another fatal 4-way match coming up next week to crown the vacant NXT champion. So the first action we actually saw tonight was Breezango challenging for the NXT Tag Team Championships against Imperium. I thought this match was solid, great, just had a good foundation about it. Neither team was made to look like superior to the other. The two teams were made to look as equals. I really liked that about it. Excuse me. And Breezango attacked the champions right as the bell rang, but things were restored once the referee got, control. Fandango and Eichner started it off, but Barthel was immediately tagged in and worked on Fandango's arm. After a commercial break, Eichner was tagged back in, and the champions continued to isolate Fandango. Barthel was tagged back in, but Fandango fought both off and tagged in Breeze. Breeze made a hot tag and a fiery comeback, I guess you could say. Breeze connected with a spinning heel kick as Barthel was coming off the top and got a 2 off of it. Breeze fought off Eichner as he tagged in Fandango. Fandango and Breeze double teamed. Then Fandango flies off the top and takes out Eichner. Barthel, however, drilled Fandango with a clothesline, taking him down. After a second commercial break, Barthel and Eichner were in control. Eichner took out Breeze with a reverse tilt-a-whirl slam. Barthel worked over Fandango. After some quote-unquote miscommunication, Eichner was tagged back in, but Breeze came back and tagged in, escaping a powerbomb attempt and hitting a super kick to both men. After some back-and-forth action, Fandango was tagged back in and hit a double leg drop off the top rope, one leg on each man, basically kicking them both in the face. He then pinned Eichner, and we have new NXT Tag Team Champions. Here's the crazy thing that I knew but didn't even think about until they said it. This is the first time. Now, I can believe this one. This is the first time that Fandango has ever won a championship in WWE, NXT, or WWE main roster. And it's the first time that Breeze has ever won a championship, NXT, or the main roster. So, I didn't think about that one. Because, in NXT back in the day, Breeze never won the NXT championship. They didn't have a North American title when he was in NXT as like one of the top 4 guys. And he never won that belt. And he never won tag titles in NXT either. And I mean, Fandango, he was a completely different person when NXT first started. He was Johnny Curtis. Then he got teamed with Summer Rae, and they did the Fandango stuff, and he came up to the main roster pretty quickly after that. But this is the first time that either Fandango or Tyler Breeze have won a championship in any WWE brand. Very interesting. Very, very interesting to think about that. Because if you think about it, if you go back to when Breeze was a full-time guy in NXT, easily, he's a multi-time North American champion. I thought that he should have been NXT champion back in the day, but hey, to each their own. That's when he was doing great things. It was him, Tyson Kidd, and Sami Zayn all fighting and chasing Neville for that NXT championship until Sami finally won it. Because people forget about that. Both Tyson Kidd and Tyler Breeze were top guys in NXT. There was, for a long time, the Big Four. And it was those 4 always in the mix some sort of way. Kind of like they were doing with the women with Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. They had the Big 4 women. They had the Big 4 men. So in the back, Damien Priest cuts a promo. He's asked about what's next for you now that you're the champion. He said the after party was still ongoing following his North American title win. Timothy Thatcher would walk up, and this made absolutely no sense. Thatcher said it was embarrassing the way he was acting, Damien Priest that is, as a champion. Thatcher said that he would be the person who gets the first title shot at Priest. He would show Priest how inadequate his wrestling actually is. And my first thought was, Timothy Thatcher getting a shot at the title? Why? You lost, bro, in your last however many matches. You lost to Finn Balor at TakeOver. You were submitted by the creepy artist guy. I can't even remember his name all of a sudden. Who am I thinking of? Who's the injured guy that submitted Timothy Thatcher? Crap. Former Sam Shaw. Why can't I think of his name? Chat, help me out here. I'm going to feel dumb once you guys say it. What's his name? Oh, man. I'm going to feel so stupid. Now chat's not even going. Chat was rolling. Dexter Lumis, that's it. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Jimmy. Dexter Lumis, that's who I'm thinking of. Timothy Thatcher lost to Finn, was choked out basically by Dexter Lumis, and he thinks he deserves a shot at the North American Championship? Yeah, no. No, you don't, Timothy Thatcher. You don't deserve a shot at any title. We see in a conference room, Triple H, William Regal, Shawn Michaels, and Matt Bloom. It was told to us on commentary that these four men have been deliberating all day on how to crown the new NXT champion now that Karrion Kross has vacated the title. Next up, we get the return of former NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa took on Jake Atlas, and I don't even know if you can call this a fight. The bell rings, and immediately, Ciampa just dominates. He gets a headbutt, and his finisher in like under a minute and a half max. Zero idea why Jake Atlas needed to be the one in this role. They have many of other guys that they could have squashed here. Jake Atlas is somebody that they've been pushing. I guess you could say he's getting a good push on 205 Live, and nobody watches 205 Live, so it doesn't really matter. But Jake Atlas was just destroyed here. He was then taken out of the ring, thrown into the steps, and then, not only was he thrown into the steps, I think he was thrown into the barricade as well. Then Ciampa had him under the ring and slingshotted him throat first into the steel that holds the ring together. Referees came down to check on him. They brought EMTs out with a stretcher, and Drake Wirtz was just yelling at Ciampa, "What was this for? What did he do to you? Why did you do this? What is this for?" They put him on the stretcher, and Ciampa DDT'd him off of the stretcher. Ciampa looked like a madman, and I got Brody Lee Dynamite vibes here. Basically the same thing. Brody Lee destroyed Cody, beat him up after the match. They put him on a stretcher, and he beat him up even more. Same thing happened here. Jimmy Too Sweet, no, I'm not drinking Gatorade. This is water with sugar-free Hawaiian Punch flavoring. So basically, I believe Ciampa is now a heel. Ciampa did come out wearing a mask as well. We got a Candice LeRae promo package. He was talking about Tegan Knox. She recounted traveling to Wales with Tegan Knox, seeing a castle, and then becoming really good friends. So they've been friends for a very long time, but she realized that, well, she may have Tegan Knox's back, or had Tegan Knox's back, but Tegan doesn't have her back. They showed her helping Tegan Knox when Dakota Kai tried to attack her with a chair, but when Dakota Kai beat up Candice, Tegan was nowhere to be seen to help. LeRae said if she doesn't want to follow this path, then she should stay out of Candice's business. Then I see Mackenzie Mitchell with Bronson Reed in the back, who was talking about his own aspirations regarding wanting to challenge for the North American Championship, when he's interrupted by all people, Austin Theory. Austin Theory is back. We haven't seen him in a while. He was on Monday Night Raw. He was with Seth Rollins in the Monday Night Messiah, and then was just taken off TV. So it's good to see Austin Theory back. He talked about how he made his own opportunities. He made his way to WrestleMania at only the age of 22. And so maybe Reed would become a champion when he's like 55. So Bronson Reed slapped him in response. And it looks like, well, this is going to be the new program for both of these guys. Bronson Reed versus one Austin Theory. Again, good to see Austin Theory is back. Not sure why they brought him back to NXT instead of the main roster. But either way, hey, guy's got a bright future. As he stated, he's only 22. So he's going to be back on that main roster eventually, as long as he doesn't mess up or something happens. But he'll be back on the main roster. I could say that for certain. Going forward, Mia Yim would make her way down to the ring. As she got into the ring, she was interrupted by Robert Stone and Aaliyah. No Mercedes Martinez, conspicuous by her absence. As Robert Stone was out there at the top of the ramp, all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, Shotzi Blackheart comes down and runs him over with the tank. And I'm like, this dumb stuff again? Why? Is it going to be Mia and Shotzi versus Aaliyah and somebody? But no, it was Shotzi versus Mia. But Robert Stone had to come out. Why? This doesn't make any sense at all. We get Shotzi Blackheart versus Mia Yim. It's NorCal versus SoCal. Northern California and Shotzi Blackheart versus Southern California and Mia Yim. Oakland versus Fontana. I thought both women looked really good here. They traded offense for a bit early before exchanging fist bumps. Well, no. Yeah, they fist bumped. It's a sign of their friendship. Yim attacked right after this, putting her in control. Blackheart cut off Yim with some kicks and landed a suplex for a near fall. Yim gave Blackheart a dragon suplex and a big boot in the corner. Yim went for a missile dropkick, but Blackheart cut her off and hit a senton. She went to the top rope and hit another for the victory. So with that, Shotzi Blackheart does defeat Mia Yim here tonight. Don't know where they're going with Shotzi, but we'll see. And then see Regal coming out of his office. He was asked about the the NXT Championship, how they're going to crown the new champion. He said, well, I'm going to make that announcement right now. I take that back. Did I write this wrong? I did. I didn't even write any of Regal's promo down. Anyway, so Regal said, I'm going to take care of this next. They go to commercial. When they come back, Regal's in the ring. Regal said that it's unfortunate what happened to Karrion Kross. He wished Karrion Kross luck in his, again, long recovery. Don't like to hear that word. He then said that they need to find a new way. They need to figure out a way to crown a new NXT champion now that the title has been vacated. He stated that he spoke with the NXT Advisory Board, which is Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Matt Bloom. I don't know where that came from. That's a new one. The NXT Advisory Board. That's like back in the day when TNA people used to say, what did they call it in TNA? Oh, fuck. They had like a committee, the TNA Championship Committee. That's what it was. The TNT Championship Committee made all the matches, and then the GM or whoever, whether that was Dusty at one point or Jim Cornette, would announce everything the championship committee would rule on. But now I guess NXT's got a advisory board. Either way, Regal said that we're going to do something for the first time ever that we've never done here. We are going to do a Fatal 4-Way 60-minute Ironman match to crown the new NXT champion. In this match, it will be all former NXT champions. And when you look at it, there are only 4 former champions still on the brand that I can think of. Keith Lee's been moved. I think of all the former NXT champions. Joe's been moved up. Nakamura's been moved up. Owens has been moved up. Sammy's been moved up. Cross is out with an injury. The only 4 guys that I can think of that are still with the company and still on NXT are these 4. The only guys, former champions, that is. Regal would then announce that Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Finn Balor, and Adam Cole will battle in this Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match next week on NXT, Super Tuesday, they're calling it. Now, the reason we're getting a Tuesday night edition of NXT is because, well, they got hockey on Wednesday, and the hockey match takes precedence over NXT, so they're moving NXT to Tuesday, which I'm actually interested in seeing. I wish they weren't doing a big match, because I would like to see how a normal edition of NXT would do on a Tuesday. I would just want to see those ratings. So as far as who I would predict coming out North American champion, I don't think it's Adam Cole. I don't think it's Johnny Gargano. My pick would be either Finn Balor or Ciampa. And to be honest, I'm kind of leaning towards Ciampa. Leaning towards Ciampa as my pick to win the title. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be Adam Cole. I don't think it's Johnny Gargano. I mean, it could be Gargano. Maybe Finn. Like, I'm for certain it's not going to be Adam Cole. I just, for some reason, don't think that. But if I had to pick somebody, I'll go Ciampa. CIMPA. Ciampa. Or Ciampa, as some people like to say. Broken King Slender says, why Ciampa just came back? That's why. Shock and awe. No one saw it coming. He just came back. He wins the title. This wasn't the plan anyways. The plan was not for Ciampa to come back and win the belt. Everything's been changed in NXT, so why not just put it on him? They may have already had plans for Finn. They may have already had plans for Cole. They may have already had plans for Johnny Gargano. So why not put it on the guy that's just coming back? Yeah, they probably already had plans for Ciampa as well. But why not put it on that guy that we haven't really been doing anything with because he's been gone for 2-3 months? So I can see it happening. Plus, it's different. He never lost the title. He's now technically, I believe, a heel. Why not put the title on a heel Tommaso Ciampa? Also, thank you, Jack Dawson, for the bits. Really do appreciate that. Lewis says maybe Dream. Why do you keep saying Dream for? Dream is A, not a former NXT champion, so can't be in this match anyways. And B, they ain't putting that title on Dream. No. If they were going to put that title on Dream, they would have done it already. It ain't happening. Random question, what does TCB mean for Blackheart? I don't know. Probably Tommaso Ciampa Black. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Also, remember, guys, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. The number is in the chat, and it scrolls periodically right down here on the screen. So next up, we had our second of 2 championship matches. This saw Isaiah Swerve Scott challenging Santos Escobar for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. I thought the match was pretty good. I thought all the matches tonight were actually pretty good. Well, for what they were. Because Kyle O'Reilly and Maverick was just a nothing match. Just getting Kyle O'Reilly over. Anyways, Cruiserweight title match. Escobar took control very early in this match, brawling with Scott on the outside and throwing him into the steps at ringside. They grabbed each other by the arm. Both men went to the top rope. And Swerve tried a Hurricane Rana, but in midair, Escobar countered with a powerbomb. Cool sequence here. After a commercial break, Escobar teased Swerve with kicks, which caused Swerve to retaliate with strikes. He went to the top rope and landed an elbow to the back of Escobar. When Escobar went outside, Swerve flew over the top with Fosbury Flop. Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza, who were sent to the back at the beginning of this match, made their way down. Breezango would also come out, and the two teams brawled to the backstage area. So I believe if Imperium doesn't get a rematch, maybe Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza get that shot at the title, the tag titles, against Breezango. Swerve came back with a knee, then hit a deadlift German suplex. Swerve connected with another kick, but Escobar kicked out at 2. Swerve then cut off Escobar and hit something that looked like a driver, not really sure, and Escobar grabbed the bottom rope. Escobar bailed to the floor and grabbed a mask and put it on. He headbutted Swerve with the mask on, then took it off and pinned him to retain the title. We're supposed to believe that it was what they call a loaded mask, which means there's some sort of like a weapon or something hard within the mask that knocked out Scott. That's what a loaded glove or a loaded mask. I don't know if I know they've probably done this before in wrestling. I've never seen the loaded mask thing, so to me this was cool and new. It's probably been done before, probably like in Mexico or something, or on some independent. But I thought it was a clever finish, a way for him to cheat but not get caught because, well, the ref didn't see it. So with that, Santos Escobar is still the champion, but the way that they did it, there's no reason why Swerve shouldn't get a rematch. Because if Swerve can prove that he cheated, maybe he can get another shot. Johnny Gargano said that he's been called the Ironman of NXT for years, and on Tuesday, he's going to prove it in the Ironman match. Finn Balor also cut a promo that life comes at you full circle in this business. All the pieces are set. The 4 cornerstones of NXT. Balor said that he wasn't the cornerstone, he was the centerpiece. He said he will prove to the network, the media department, and the internet trolls that he is the best when he becomes the new NXT champion. Again, I'm leaning towards either Balor or Ciampa. More Ciampa than Balor, but those are my two picks. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to say Ciampa, of course. Next up, we had Kyle O'Reilly against Drake Maverick. This was good as Maverick was a great babyface in peril. He fired up, and O'Reilly still got the best of him. Drake went wild as the bell rang, sending O'Reilly out of the ring. Maverick hit a big tope that took out Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish as well, who were at ringside. O'Reilly, though, cut him off, and Maverick soon fired back with a bulldog and a senton. O'Reilly cut him off yet again with a knee. They exchanged strikes, with O'Reilly getting the better of Maverick. Maverick fired back with an enziguri and went for a sliced bread, but O'Reilly grabbed the leg of Maverick and applied a leg lock. Maverick tried to fight out of it, but O'Reilly shifted his weight to the side, which led to Maverick tapping out. The rest of Undisputed Era jumped in, minus Adam Cole, who was not out there, and attacked Maverick afterwards. Killian Dane, who was recently attacked by the Undisputed Era, came down to make the save and sent the Undisputed Era packing. Afterwards, Drake Maverick thanked Killian Dane for saving him from that 3-on-1 attack, and then he was laid out with a clothesline by Killian Dane. Rhea Ripley cut a promo and said that she didn't come out to save Io at TakeOver. She came out to let her know she wants to challenge Io next. In regards to Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea said if Gonzalez wanted her out of the way, she would have to make her get out of the way. Adam Cole cut a promo, said the Mount Rushmore of NXT will all be in the ring next Tuesday to determine the next NXT champion. A match like this is right up his alley. He said being NXT champion once was something, but being NXT champion twice, well, that's a whole different ball game. And when we look at it, we see, okay, who is the Mount Rushmore of NXT? Of course, Finn is number one. Adam Cole's got to be on there as the longest reigning NXT champion. And then I guess it is Ciampa and Gargano. I mean, you've had other guys that have been mainstays, big names in NXT, like Joe and Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I mean, Owens wasn't in NXT that long. Yes, he was an NXT champion. Sami Zayn, though, was one of the guys that really put NXT on the map. So maybe take... Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. Who would you take off to put Sammy on there? Because I believe Sammy's got to be on there. Sammy's one of the guys that really... If you say who put NXT on... I mean, Adam Cole is the longest reigning NXT champion. But I guess if I had to take somebody off of that for Sammy, I would change Adam Cole. Because Johnny and Ciampa are just NXT through and through. Finn, once Sammy left, was NXT. Jack Dawson says, what about Big E Langston? He was in that early NXT that really wasn't a thing yet. They must, like, someone might say Seth Rollins, because he was the first NXT champion. Again, that was a different NXT. But when you really look at it, who put NXT on the map? Because, you know, you've got guys like Big E, you got guys like Seth, who just used NXT to get to the main roster. But who have been guys that, how do I explain this? Loved their time in NXT. I'm not saying Big E, I'm not saying Rollins didn't love their time in NXT. But who are guys that you can honestly possibly say liked being in NXT more than being on the main roster? That's Finn for sure. That's Ciampa for sure, because Ciampa didn't even want to come to the main roster. Never been to the main roster. Well, full time. Johnny is freaking Mr. NXT. Sammy put NXT on the map. Him and Cesaro were that first ever TakeOver match. Sammy was the heart and soul. He was called the heart and soul of NXT for a while. And then you're saying Bobby Roode. Fuck Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode just used NXT to get to the main roster. Another one. Drew McIntyre just used NXT to get to the main roster. That was all. They may have liked their time in NXT, but to them, NXT was just, oh, that's where you're going to put me until I can get to Raw or SmackDown? Okay, I'll do it. When you look at guys, if you say, who's the Mount Rushmore of NXT? You got to look at who you think cared more about being in NXT, or at least made it feel like they cared more about NXT. Loved their time in NXT more than anything, and so forth. And I think that's got to be Finn for sure, Sami Zayn, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. And you gotta break the mold. You've got to break the mold and put Adam Cole on there. You got to go 5. You just can't. I know you guys are spitting names. Ricochet was a big name in NXT, but he wasn't a big name. One of the biggest names, to be completely honest. Because when you think of NXT, I think Ricochet like number 8 or 9 as some of the best guys, if not out of the top 10 as some of the best guys to make. Because we're not talking about who had great matches in NXT. We're not talking about who was cool to watch in NXT. We're talking about who made an impact in NXT, who impacted NXT in a way that made it something big, that made it something better. Real Mr. Pickle, don't even start with that junk. We're not, this is a serious conversation. And, the 5 guys that I believe helped build this brand: Finn, Sami, Cole, Ciampa, Gargano. Others helped build the brand, but not as influential as those 5. They're not as influential to NXT's whole being as those 5 guys. Because when you look at it, when guys like Rollins and Big E were on NXT, that's when NXT only aired on WWE.com. When NXT first started blossoming on the WWE network, you had a lot of, guys that were really doing great things like Neville and Tyler Breeze and TJ Wilson or Tyson Kidd, as we talked about earlier. But the one guy that stood out then above everybody, even though he wasn't the champion, at least not for a long time, was Sami Zayn, the heart and soul of NXT. Then when all those guys left, Finn Balor made NXT cooler than Raw, cooler than SmackDown. Finn Balor was that guy, along with Bayley, that just made NXT better and cooler and funner to watch than NXT or than Raw and SmackDown. And yes, Jimmy Too Sweet, we're only talking about males right now. And so, like I said, Finn was there, was the guy when they started touring with NXT. People came to see NXT on the road because they wanted to see guys like Finn Balor. Then you add a Tommaso Ciampa, you add a Johnny Gargano, who have been mainstays, who love NXT so much that they don't want to go to the main roster. Then you got Adam Cole, the longest reigning NXT champion, somebody who also did a great service to NXT in putting that brand over as well for the last year, 400 and some odd days. And I see all the names you guys are spitting at me: Drew McIntyre, Bobby Roode, Aleister Black, Ricochet. They all had great matches in NXT. Some are even former NXT champions. But I feel that they didn't have as big of an impact on building this brand as these 5 guys did. And it's all up for interpretation. It's all opinion-based, to be completely honest. And that's just how I feel. NXT would not be the NXT we know today if it wasn't for Finn Balor, if it wasn't for Sami Zayn, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole. Yes, others helped build this brand, shape it into what it is, but they didn't help make it as much as these guys what it is. And that's just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with it. You guys can say I'm wrong in some aspects, and that's cool. Because this is something that I would really like to debate further going forward. So with that, we had our main event. Also, Jimmy Too Sweet, you corrected yourself, never mind. It was the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley defending against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez. I always fuck it up because I don't know if I always get mixed up. Is it Raquel? Is it Reina? What name do we use? Because when they did the They did the NXT preview on WWE.com this morning, and it said Raquel Gonzalez. So my thought was, they changed her name again? Give me 1 second, guys. We had Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley taking on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. So this match was good while it lasted. It built more than what we thought, and some stuff isn't done. Kai and Ripley started this match. Ripley really wanted to start this match. After commercial break, Ripley and Shirai were in control. Gonzalez and Kai tried to isolate Ripley, but to no avail, as Shirai tagged in. Blind tag, hot tag. Rhea was kind of mad that Io blind tagged. At one point, Shirai hit a 619 on Kai and then hit knees in the corner to Gonzalez. Shirai hit a big knee on Kai and hit a German suplex. But Gonzalez broke up the pin. Gonzalez laid out Shirai with a clothesline, then tagged herself in. Shirai tagged Ripley, but the referee didn't see it. Said, nope, didn't happen. You're not it. So as Rhea's on the apron, as Rhea's on the apron, all of a sudden, Mercedes Martinez runs out and pulls her off the apron. Rhea just falls down, smacks her head on the apron, face first. Gonzalez then hits a tilt-a-whirl slam for a near fall. Shirai manages to barely tag in Rhea Ripley, but Gonzalez hits Ripley with a big boot and pins her with a choke slam. So with that, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez defeat Io Shirai, the NXT Women's Champion, and Rhea Ripley. And that's how the show goes off the air. Largely, I felt this was a really good show. I thought every single match was solid. Every single match served its purpose. And I think almost every match tonight built towards something else. Something for the future, which is actually what you're supposed to do. But with that, guys, that was NXT. Remember, if you guys want to be part of the show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. Also, if I had to rate tonight's NXT, I'd go 8 out of 10. I'm very confident in giving it an 8 out of 10 because I enjoyed the heck out of tonight's NXT. This text message here states, basically what I talked about earlier, but I'll read it anyways. With Regal stating a long recovery, when and how do you see Karrion Kross coming back? I feel saying him. I think you're supposed to, I think you might have wanted to put saving his return at Takeover Royal Rumble is being generous. Well, here's the thing. We don't know how long he's going to be out of action. There's no way to predict anything till we know, oh, he's out for 8 months. Oh, he's out for 5 months. Oh, he's out for 4 months. We don't know. And until we know how long Karrion Kross is going to be out of action, there's no real way to predict how you can bring him back. I mean, if it was me, I would bring him back on a takeover. Doesn't matter what takeover. Have the NXT Championship match as the main event, and he attacks whoever's the champion at the end of the show. That's how I would do it. And this text message here does state, is Tommaso Ciampa now a heel? Yeah. Said it earlier. I believe Ciampa's a heel now. Oh, got one more text message coming in. Let's load this one up. This person here says, with Raquel Gonzalez defeating both Io and Rhea Ripley tonight, could you see Raquel getting a shot at the title, or would Raquel help Dakota get another shot? That's a tough one. Because, you always want to be like, me. I want a shot at the belt. But Raquel helps Dakota so much, maybe I could see her helping Dakota get that shot instead. Another text message asking about Ciampa as a heel. This person says, any reason why Ciampa came back as a heel? Probably just to do something different. He was a heel back in the day when he was feuding with Johnny. Then he came back as a babyface. And, well, he wanted to be a heel again, I guess. I've always liked heel Ciampa, so I'm not complaining. But with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here tonight to talk about NXT. We will be live again tomorrow night to talk about the live edition of AEW Dynamite. So with that, We'll be live on Friday. We'll be live on Saturday, next Monday, Tuesday. We're live all the time here, twitch.tv/PWUnlimited. Also, remember, you can follow us on social media. Follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Follow us on Twitter at PWUnlimited. And always keep an eye on our website, PWUnlimited.co. So with that, guys, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.